Assalamu alaikum. We are the reporter number 6, and the lesson that we are going to discuss is entitled the chapter 2, lesson 3, the good life. Now, let us give you first the overview of our lesson. This lesson discusses the relationship of good life to science and technology. In order to attain good life, there is a need for the society to be kept abreast with the know-how of good life. Therefore, this lesson further discusses the principle of good life and the golden rules in living life. Through the ethical standards of living life in order to attain good life, the society is guided on how to deal with the contemporary issues in science and technology. Now, let us discuss our learning outcomes. After successfully studying this lesson, the student should be able to: Number 1, examine shared concerns that make up the good life in order to come up with innovative, creative solutions to contemporary issues guided by ethical standards. Number 2, articulate ways by which society can attain a good life in relation to science and technology. And last, number 3, interpret the ethical standards in living a life on this contemporary science and technology in relation to good life. Now, I am the first reporter, Jubaira Kitab. So, the question is, what is good life? The answer to the question, what is good life, varies through time and among different cultures, schools of philosophy, and individuals. However, there are three dominant ideas on what good life is. Number 1, the moral life by Socrates and Plato. Number 2, the fulfilled life by Aristotle. And number 3, the life of pleasure by Epicurus. Now let us first define or discuss the moral life. A moral life is a good life according to Socrates and Plato. This concept of good life was suggested by Socrates and Plato. In this concept, one who has a good life is someone who possesses and practices most of the important virtues such as kindness, courage, loyalty, and generosity. Examining, reflecting, and questioning the nature of things is important to have a good life. Servitude to others is important also and must control his or her passion and desires through reason in order to have a good life. The moral life. One basic way in which we use the word good is to express moral approach. So when we say that someone is living well or that they live a good life, our may simply means that they are a good person. Someone who is courageous, honest, trustworthy, kind, selfless, generous, helpful, loyal, principled, and so on. They possess and practice many of the most important virtues, and they don't spend all their times merely pursuing their own pleasure. They engagement with family and friends, or through their work or through various voluntary activities. This moral concept of the good life had plenty over all other supposedly good things such as pleasure, wealth, or power. In Plato's dialogue Gorgias, Socrates takes this opportunity to an extreme, He argues that it is much better to suffer wrong than to do it, that a good man who has his eyes go out is tortured to death is more fortunate than a corrupt person who has uses wealth and power dishonorably. Now let us proceed to the fulfilled life by Aristotle. Another Greek thinker, Aristotle, views the good life in a more comprehensive way. According to Aristotle, we all want to be happy. We value many things because they are a means to other things. For instance, we value money because it is enable us to buy things we want. We value leisure because it gives us time to pursue our interest. But happiness is something we value not as a means to something but for its own sake. It has intrinsic value rather than an instrumental value. For someone to have a good life, he or she, number 1, must be morally virtuous. Number 2, have good health and long life. Number 3, should be prosperous. Number 4, must have good friends. Number 5, should respect others. Number 6, must have good luck. And lastly, number 7, must use his or her talents, abilities, and capacities. If at the end of your life, you can check all these boxes, then you could reasonably claim to have lived well, to have achieved the good life. Of course, the great majority of people today do not belong to leisure class as Aristotle, and they have to work for a living. But it true that we think the ideal circumstances to be doing for a living what you would choose to do. Anyway, so people who are able to pursue their calling are generally regarded as extremely fortunate. Now, the fulfilled life has two categories. First is the meaningful life. A lot of recent research show that people who have children are not necessarily happier than people who don't have children. Indeed, during the child raising years and especially when the children have turned into teenagers, parents typically have lower level of happiness and higher levels of stress. But even though having their lives are more meaningful for many people, the well-being of their family, especially their children and grandchildren, is the main source of meaning in life. Outlook goes back a very long way. Ancient times, the definition of good fortune was to have a lot of children who do well for themselves. And the second category of the fulfilled life is the finished life. The Greek had a saying, "Call no man happy until he's dead." There is wisdom in this period. In fact, one might want to amend it too. Call no man happy until he is long dead, for sometimes a person can appear to live a fine life. Now, to check all the boxes: virtues, prosperity, friends, respect, meaning, etc., yet eventually be revealed as something other than what we thought they were. A good example of this is Jimmy Savile, the British TV personality who was much admired in his lifetime, but after he died, was exposed as a serial sexual predator. Now, the last Now let us proceed to the last meaning of a good life. A Life of Pleasure by Epicurus. This concept was suggested by Epicurus. This concept states that life is worth living because of pleasures. The view that pleasures will lead to good life is known as hedonism. The ancient Greek philosopher Epicurus was one of the first to declare bluntly that what makes life worth living is that we can experience pleasure. Pleasure is enjoyable, it's fun, it's well. Please. The view that pleasure is the good, or to put it another way, that pleasure is what makes life worth living, is known as hedonism. Now, the word hedonist, when applied to a person, has a slightly negative connotations. It suggests that they are devoted to what some have called the lower pleasures, such as sex, food, drink, and sensual indulgence in general. Epicurus recognized all kinds of pleasure, such as wealth, sexual pleasures, and fame. However, Epicurus also believed that one should not lose himself or herself to get to pleasure. Epicurus believed that one should not lose itself to pleasure because, number one, this will diminish one's pleasures in the long run. Number two, there are other more important pleasures to consider, such as friendship and education. And lastly, number three, everyone should live a virtuous life. The three aspects of good life. Disregarding the hedonistic approach, a good life is the integration of these three aspects. The three aspects are the self-mastery, contemplation, and learning, and servitude to society.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. I am Janala Gamil and I will be your discussant for today. So, ethics and ethical standards. Now that we have an understanding what is good life, the next question is how should I live? Ethics answer this question. Ethical beliefs affect how we should live. It is the core of our everyday lives with what is good for oneself and society. It tends to address the following dilemmas: how to have a good life, rights and responsibilities, the language of right and wrong, and what is good and bad. First to address here is how to have a good life. The real key to a good life is doing less of what makes you miserable and more of what makes you come alive. What does it take to have a good life? It is a question that can't be answered in so many ways. First, Socrates taught people with self-knowledge are more likely to find true happiness. The secret of happiness you see is not found in seeking more, but in developing the capacity to enjoy less, he once said. Another one is Aristotle argued that the good life is a happy life. Happiness is the meaning and the purpose of life, the whole aim and end of human existence, he said. And there is Epicurus observed that the key to a good life is avoiding pain, abstaining from unnecessary desires, and being grateful for what you have in life. Be moderate in order to taste the joy of life in abundance, he once said. There are more books, essays, and resources on living a good life, but today, many people than ever are dissatisfied with their lives. Either the tools out there are not making the right impact on them, or they are not taking action on what they learn. Each person has their own happiness formula. You're the main thing. You can simply develop a good life if you can think thoroughly about everything that makes you feel amazing in the past and reflect on what makes you come alive. Only you can figure out what makes your life happy, meaningful. It's hard than it sounds, but you can't look back on the things that make you better. Many individuals think success is the key to happiness, but what does success mean? No single answer exists. You know that personal success is unique. We all want different things for others. It's financial security and happy family. Others want worldly recognition and exciting travel. Ethical life. Living an ethical life is a unique characteristic of human. This is because only humans have the ability to reason out and be rational. Ethics provide a framework for answering complex questions, allowing humans to act based on moral principles. It is our responsibility to treat one another with consideration, compassion, and respect. To put it another way, an ethical person makes it a habit to imply virtues which are characteristics of our personalities when solving everyday problems. The positive aspects of character that contribute to our ethical being are referred to as virtues. Virtues is built on a foundation of integrity. Ethical dilemmas are inevitable. We encounter them in our daily lives. It is very important that our actions and decisions are based on moral principles. Example, will I tell my mom that I got low grades in some of my subjects? It is okay to eat in an expensive restaurant while others are starving. Will I tell my friend that his or her partner is cheating even though I know that I will hurt him or her? The fact that the applications of technology have the potential to cause untold numbers of innocent individuals to endure pain is a matter of serious ethical concern. One example of this kind of problem is the fact that nuclear technology carries with it the risk of murdering a significant number of people and as a result, wreaking havoc on the natural world. Some potential health concerns have been raised by this matter. But above all that, a good life is one that has a meaning behind it. It is a life in which you make the most of everything in any kind of situation, whether it is good or bad, and in which you remain calm, collected, and are able to perceive through the most difficult of situations. It is a journey through life that is taken with family, friends, and other people who are loved. That's all. Thank you for listening.
Good day, everyone. Today, I will be discussing the role of ethics in innovation. Let's understand first what innovation is. Number one, divergence. Innovation seeks to change the status quo. It aims to generate new ideas, concepts, and methods, hence, diverging from the common. In this way, problems and concerns can be solved using new and different approaches. This means that innovation is used and will be used to generate new ideas and come up with solutions. For example, the problem is we already had old ideas, concepts, and methods. Through innovation, we will be able to come up with new solutions, methods, and concepts. The next one is curiosity. According to Aristotle, curiosity allows us to search for our intellectual virtues. Curiosity drives us to explore and examine things and ultimately enables us to gain new knowledge. Remember, innovation starts from curiosity. Innovation's curious attitude are characterized by thinking in childlike terms while insatiably seeking information. People ever discourage curiosity and asking questions using the phrases like curiosity killed the cat. But even the world's greatest innovators like Albert Einstein and possibly curious and nosy. Curiosity enables us to apply ideas across divergent fields, improving upon the ideas of others, synthesizing ideas, and discovering patterns from disparate fields. The next one is multidisciplinary. In order for us to come up with an innovative solution, a multidisciplinary approach should be used. A multidisciplinary approach provides a deeper and more holistic discussion about the problem and potential solutions. The next one is resilience. Innovation is usually the end product of many experiments. Innovators need resilience to continue processing and testing ideas despite many previous failures. Resilience is about more than surviving. It is necessary to keep growing. It's what allows a company to adapt as markets change and now technologies emerge. The next one is effect to people. Innovators should consider the effect of their innovation to people. Since all innovation are intended to benefit the end users, and the end users will serve as a judge if the innovation is helpful and relevant to them. The last one is shared responsibility. Innovation is a shared responsibility between the innovators and the community. The innovator's intention for his innovation should be for community. The community, on the other hand, should use the innovation in a responsible manner. To simply put, innovation is a two-way responsibility. What is the difference between technology and innovation? Innovation is human-centered perspective and process, a generation of new ideas, concepts, or methods in order to solve problems, while technology is the product of innovation. To simply put, innovation can be intangible as opposed to technology, which is tangible. You can even apply the innovation process to your daily life. Technology can be used to implement innovation, but the technology itself doesn't produce innovation. The next topic is the ethical innovations. Number one, humanistic. The innovation should be human-centered, which means that it should be relevant to humans. Number two, participatory. From the word participate, the design of the innovation was done with the people, not just for the people. The next one is sustainable. The innovation could sustain for a long time considering social, economical, political, and environmental aspects. The role of technology in achieving good life. Vergaert in 2006 stated in his essay that technologies will support and enhance a good life for all citizens without compromising the Earth's ecosystem or the prospects of later generations. Stutz of 2006, on the other hand, states that a good life requires essentially basic human needs are met and aspirations for freedom, belonging, own self. Realization are fulfilled as much as possible. Technology allowed us to temper time and space. Communication has a lot been easier for people from different parts of the world. They can talk and see each other in real time and send messages instantly without waiting a letter mail to arrive. It is the question of how we decide on what kinds of technology to use or not to use, as well as the balance between the good life, ethics, and technology has to be achieved. What is the ultimate goal of a good life? Aristotle was the originator of the concept of eudaimonia. He deemed happiness to be a vulgar idea, stressing that not all desires are worth pursuing as, even though some of them yield pleasure, they would not produce wellness. Aristotle, though, not true happiness is found by leading a virtuous life and doing what is worth doing. Boniwell of 2008 emphasized that feeling good is not good enough for a good life. Each person must realize his or her potentialities, which will lead him to a greatest fulfillment. That would be all. Thank you.